Hey.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome back to the Long Island TCG Show Tournament Series, Melville, Long Island. Once
Freshly
again,
rested.
freshly rested and hydrated, as I did promise that if you did not hydrate, I would hurt you. So, be hydrated, please.
The bottle's getting lower.
Very
I
true.
mean,
Very true. Welcome. Welcome back. We are at the Long Island TCG Show one more time. It is the Battle Bros, Nicholas and Andrew Uterano casting. We've got David Headland versus John Conity with an N instead of an M. It is pure Dragapult, as far as I'm aware, versus Raging Bolt, as we saw earlier. John seems to be the only undefeated in the tournament, 2-0 versus David being 1-1. We will have to see what happens here. John going first does get to play the Clef Key.
Very important card here in this matchup. So for those at home who don't know, Clef Key, if it's in the active, all basic Pokemon in play do not have abilities. That is a very important card to have in this matchup, especially against Fan Call Rotom.
So what I assume is that David won the coin flip and chose second, like he did last time, blind. Now John has an option. That is tough.
Yeah, that is really tough for David because now Fan Call can't activate at all, and neither can the Teal Masks for that matter. This is a very, very, very important card to win this matchup. One of the key things about Dragapult that also is really important is for any kind of ability lock, so Iron Thorns, Flutter, not Flutterwing.
Fluttermane?
Or Fluttermane, thank you. Fluttermane, other Clef Key, Monkey Dory, none of those effects can activate while that Clef Key is in that
well,
active
if
spot.
the Clef Key is the first to hit, right?
Right.
The idea being is that if Fluttermane does go into the active after, then, there's sequencing in order attached to it. But in the case of David, David is now thinking he cannot get a setup. He can't do pretty much anything this turn. That is a huge card for John to play. So we'll have to see what David grabs.
And what's great about that Dragapult the Dragapult in here too.
They all have abilities.
Those Dracloaks are evolved Pokemon, so they aren't affected by Clef Key. So John actually loses nothing by evolving into Dracloak, and then eventually, obviously, into our good old funny spicy Jet Dragon here, into Dragapult. So we'll see what David does. This is definitely tough. It might just have to be attach, retreat into, attach, retreat into Burst Roar. Burst Roar might be the only way that David might be able to draw some cards here. I mean, that hand is energy galore.
That is a brutal hand. Thankfully, Dragapult is a slower deck. We'll have to see what exactly we can actually get done here, because I think David's thought process is like, let me find Pokemon that don't have abilities, because right now I got to do something. I think David's going to be in attached pass land for a little while. John's going to be able to get a setup almost guaranteed here in this regard, and then continue to move on. So let's just see what he does. I mean, do you really think there's anything that David can do in his opening 2-3 turns?
I mean, I had the baby Raging Bolt.
He's our little guy. There's him. Saw in both games of Raging Bolt.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, Clef Key is such a powerful card for decks that are just all basic Pokemon. What David has to do here is David has to get a boss's orders and take that Clef Key out of the active slot.
Yeah, either that or just get the SADA retreat attached. But you cannot retreat without attaching, so looks like we're just going to be potentially attached passing, which is not what David
Couldn't David
wanted.
also attack here?
You need a stadium. You need a stadium.
Let's see.
Because that would be the logical response, right? Is that like Fan Rotom attach, stadium attack.
Yeah.
But I did not see any stadiums in the opening hand, so I think it's probably just attached to the Raging Bolt and then pass over.
Yeah, pass.
There you go.
Yep,
All
there
right.
we go.
So, John, now having access to cards on cards on cards, we have a pure Dracloak. Oh, that is a clear-cut decision there. Arvin on the board this turn. Now we have a setup. Because now, basically, John Conity can... basically, he gets control over how the game gets to go. Evo into double Dracloak. See, now there's an option. There's the TM evolution.
Yep.
So here's what's going to happen. John is going to get, since we do not play the Dusknoir line in this version of the deck. This is pure Polt, as far as I'm aware. Monkey Dory would indicate that.
John's a part of your testing group, right?
That is, but I'd rather, you know, we're talking about this deck in general, not our version of the deck entirely.
You did say our. Just saying.
Anywho.
Don't mind us. We're just riffing at each other here. But it does look like that TM Evolution is going to be coming out here into both of those Dreepies. So now we've got 2 Dracloaks in play. John can now go through 6 cards a turn. So that is a lot of draw power for Dragapult to have.
That is true. So yeah, because the thing is that the idea behind this is that John wants to slow down the game enough where he can get a board. If he can get a board set up that David can't really do anything to, then John will win, just based on prize trading alone. He does get the retreat. Now we just have to worry about energy attachments because John has now used both of his energy attachments across both turns to both things that aren't Dragapult, or things that aren't lines that become Dragapults. So John will likely have to either Crispin to get an attack off next turn or just try to main attach over another set of turns. David likely, now that 3 Dracloaks are staring him down, David would probably just attach and then pass. Or if he has a supporter, he has to play it. Wow, pass. Yeah, there is not much going on now.
That is a rough start for David here.
Now we are Flower Select Lighting. It's Recon Directive. Draw 2 off the top. Choose 1. Other goes to the bottom. Like ye old airmail of old. All right. Draw more. So we've got a fire. Oh. Okay, so now we've got a choice. We do have the energy attaches.
Unfair Stamp in hand.
Unfair Stamp in hand. So basically, John...
No Crispin.
No Crispin, but no Crispin needed. Because I think what we can do probably here is just attach and get our energy attaches. And then if David does Iono and John shuffles the deck, then what else can you do? Right now, we joust.
Yep, joust for 10.
That
okay.
10 damage matters. Tell me why.
6 damage counters, baby, on that Dragapult.
So if John's first attack is a Gust and can KO the Raging Bolt, now we're in a position where John can take 2 and remove all of David's attackers on the board. That way, David has no responses for the next 2 turns. Probably, if that, even.
So let's see what David decides to do. Manually attach grass for manual retreat.
So we are removing potentially, so we do have, what is it, is it 30 times or 60 times?
So hoot. Pass.
No, it is 60 damage. It's
oh
not
my
enough
goodness, wow.
Because he only has the 2 energy. Yeah, there is not much else going on right now on this board state. So
ooh, this is brutal for
So this
David.
is what we're going to see. Yeah, they're discussing the damage. They're discussing the damage amount. It is 60. John draws.
Another Arvin.
Now, let's see what we can draw. Countercatcher Crispin. So Crispin's good, but Countercatcher we don't really need because John is not behind in prize cards yet. We want to see the boss for sure. Dark Energy for the Monkey Dory, so we have that as an option. I would have liked to see the rare candy there because maybe potentially you could Crispin.
Yeah.
You could Crispin and then put the Dark on the Monkey Dory this turn.
But definitely looking to get a Dragapult in play here.
Shock, maybe double Dragapult. I don't know. I mean, thinning cards from the deck is good. I don't know if we want, excuse me, I apologize. We want to get more than 1 Dragapult this turn.
I guess John is like very comfortable with his hand that he currently has.
Yes.
And because of that, he kind of feels comfortable just saying, okay, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to get these Dragapults in play. And David can't, with Asadas, potentially David could start threatening Dragapults or Dracloaks on the bench. So in this case,
so here's what it's going to be.
John is just going for it at this point.
Yep.
It's looking like it's going to be, so that is 2 prize cards taken
right off
John.
So now it has to happen. Hopefully John does, hopefully David has some sort of response.
By the way, just for our production team.
You can't search. Oh, no.
John's.
David, no. You have to have a Terra Pokemon in play in order to evolve.
No. I think
Attach triple stab. Attach triple stab.
Oh, David, no.
Attach triple stab. I mean, you have to. I mean, maybe there's even a world where you have to evolve into the Noctowl so that you don't immediately die this turn to a Gust.
Yeah.
Gust, because what happens is if Gust Halucha does win John the game on the spot.
Yeah,
game
David
2.
just gave it up.
Yeah, that is a definitely smart move with 40 minutes left in the round.
Absolutely.
John getting the nice quick game 1 with a Klefki. Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's how it goes, man.
Low chance to start it. I mean, if David takes second all the time, that does give John the chance to open and get to a Klefki on turn 1 going first. If that happens, doom. You cannot get anything done as Raging Bolt, and that is really tough to get out of unless you have a spec to deal with. So right now, looks a little grim, but hopefully, what we want to see from David is hopefully that John does not get the guaranteed. If David does choose second, and we hopefully that John does not have the ability to get Klefki into the active again, because if he does, this is going to be a pretty quick game 2. We're going to have to see what happens. So they are setting up right now.
So
I will double check with our Atlanta regional standings right now.
Yep. Real quick, just for our production team, John, his last name is Conaty, so Conaty.
N as in Nancy.
N as in Nancy. So I just wanted to see if we could get that changed up super quick there. Otherwise,
Henry Chow is the stream game in top 4. He is 0-1 against Saris Jones.
Saris Jones playing Dragapult?
Saris Jones is playing Dragapult. Not sure if Pure Pult or Dusknoir Pult yet. I did not see that. Let me just check and see if there was any indication. No, it is Pure Pult. Pure Pult is there at that point. All right, started our game 2. We'll keep on that, and we will let you know going forward. So.
All right, so that was that Koraidon again into that active slot. I didn't see what John...
John has a rescue board, so if he does have a search option, he can get to the Klefki again, and that could be very dangerous.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what John does.
I did not see the starter.
Dreepy.
Okay, Dreepy starter, and he chose to go first. We've got Bear. We've got no search options, so now we've got a problem.
Okay.
So this
There's
is...
an Iono.
Pass. Okay, so David gets to play the game. This is what we want to see. No way to get to Klefki. David's got a way to get to Fan Rotom.
I did see Asada's in there, so David does have a way to get started.
Problem is that he has to get a Latios on the board. He has to get Fan Rotom. Ideally, what I want to see from David here is Fan Rotom, get down Latios.
Do you think it's actually...
swing?
I don't know. Do you think it could be a Raging Bolt here?
No.
Because then you discard 2 energy with the Ultra Ball, you drop a Raging Bolt, and then Sada's, and then you get 3 more cards. You get more cards that way than you do...
You can, but the problem is that you'd have to potentially use a Prime Catcher to get to the other, to get it switched into the active.
Right.
So, maybe what might be best here... Okay, so David is opting for the 2-prizer option, maybe not really seeing that you can attack for 70. I think he does have the Stadium in hand, so I would have liked to see maybe a swing with the Fan Rotom into the...
Oh, I didn't see the Stadium, that's why I didn't see the...
at least I think I saw the Stadium in hand. Oh.
Whoa, he chose the pass there?
No, I think it was just an opt to allow to cut.
Okay, there you go.
Okay,
All right, so there's our Sada's.
There's our Sada's.
Crispin, Grass Energy.
Noctowl.
Okay.
So
what do we do?
Do we have any ball search?
Oh, yeah, look, there it is. There's the...
That is the Stadium. So we do not have any ball search here. We do not have any way to attack this turn, nor do we have any other way to do anything else.
He can do 30 damage. Or 20
Not
damage.
even.
Yeah, he can do 20 damage.
Well, he can attack and it's 30. He can attack and deal 30. But against Dragapult, that doesn't really matter too much, right? It goes to 290. You need 280 on the 4 swing. So maybe...
Okay, so there's our pass.
Just a pass. Okay. John pretty much has to evolve into Dracloak, see what we can get.
There we go. Assault Vest, Psychic Energy.
Energy attach doesn't really help us here unless he attaches the rescue board that he has in hand. So maybe he goes attach Psychic, rescue board, Iono. Problem is that it does... You could also maybe...
Gives David cards, right?
It does give David cards. He hasn't really shown that he has too much right now. However... Okay, so he's going to hit for 10 with Petty Grudge. Unless he passed off of that, I'm not sure. Yeah, because I guess technically the most that David can do is knock out the Dreepy. If he does get Gust Dreepy, it is interesting. A little bit of discussion with the production team. Not sure exactly what's going on there, but... Oh, he passed and did not attack with the... Yeah, so I guess for the not 10 damage. Let's see what David does.
So now, depending on what David gets here...
Crispin swing.
Okay,
so we are guaranteeing that we get a 1-prize knockout. John doesn't exactly have too much of a board here. I think what John is anticipating is that David takes a 1-prize knockout and then maybe just stamps him into nothing and then continues to set up his board from where he is at that point. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, because this is going to be... Yep. So this is going to be the manually attached to the... Raging Bolt, and then obviously retreat into Raging Bolt.
Yes, because it does look like the Koraidon has 2 retreat costs. So, and then the problem now is that we need a fighting energy.
Yep.
We have to attach it to the Raging Bolt.
So there's our retreat.
Hopefully David sees that.
Yep, he should. Yep,
Okay,
there's our fighting energy, and then he takes
and then he
off the
probably
grass.
removes the grass.
Yep.
And then
Although, something interesting to note there, a Prime Catcher could have been available.
I wouldn't use it at this point. 'Cause, like,
So
I don't think John really cares too much right now.
there's our buddy.
Okay. So I
So remember that play you were talking about
I
before?
foresee a board setup, a Dragapult, and attach, and an Unfair Stamp. So ideally, John dumps all the cards out of the hand that he can right now, Unfair Stamps David, and then tries to get to a Fire Energy attach plus Dragapult EX. If he can get to that swing, that is exactly what we're looking for to threaten on the 2 turns. Now, the thing I would like to see from John is that I think there's the Unfair Stamp. I think that Koraidon only has, if I'm not mistaken, let me just see, Surging Sparks.
I think it's 130.
Right? Yes, it is 130. That
Yeah.
was my main gripe with not using Petty Grudge there, because if it does set Koraidon to 120, which means that in 2 attacks,
Dragapult
Can knock it out.
Right.
yes. So you could, like, potentially Halucha Gust,
Yeah.
or, if you're gusting the 210 HP Pokemon,
Yeah.
like the Ogrepons.
And really what we were talking about at the beginning of the day about how Dragapult tries to set up as
Let's see what we got.
many of these turns.
So we have an Iono.
Okay,
John
it's
draws cards.
Recon.
There's the Fire Energy. So now, okay.
Okay,
We're
so
a little bit deeper in the
attack
We're a
here.
little bit deeper in the deck. John has to decide whether he wants to Iono or not, because if he does, he's giving David a hand. Oh no, he does have the Dragapult.
And an Arvin.
Oh wow. Okay, I did not realize he already had the Dragapult. So he drew the exact number of cards he needed there, or the exact amount. So here's what's going to happen. Maybe we grab the Ultra Ball for a second Dracloak. Maybe we potentially something to set up an attacker on the next turn. Okay.
Remember, Defiance Band actually does work here as well. Obviously, it doesn't secure a knockout, but what it could do here in this situation is that it puts Raging Bolt to 230
Yes.
health out of 240, which means that a switch or a counter catcher or anything like that will allow John to take more than 2 prize cards. So we'll have to see what he decides to do.
Yeah, he was eyeing up the Halucha, which does 10 damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon, but that doesn't really do anything right now. You'd want to use it on like an Ogrepon to set it to 200 so you could punch it with a Dragapult, things like that. You already used that ability. Here comes the second Dracloak ability. There's the key. We want Jacques for sure. So now, Defiance best because we can attach. He's already taken a knockout. He's kind of big. Now, effectively 360 HP now on the Dragapult. What that means is that if David gets 5 energy, he can't swing. He needs 6. That is a very tall order on the Dragapult, on the Raging Bolt player to punch the Dragapult back to get a knockout.
Yeah, and especially because, obviously we kind of talked about this a little bit before. With the boss's orders, John wins the game from this position. So,
yeah, I mean, it depends on that. Also,
so
potentially...
we'll see what David has here. Does David have an Ultra Ball?
Sada.
So that's
So
3 cards.
that puts us at 3. Attach makes it 4. And he did attack with an Ancient Pokemon the previous turn, so he could just attack with the Koraidon. But that does set him up if he doesn't have another Poke. Oh, nope, 2 Nest Balls. We're back in the game.
Oh, right. So here we go. David getting...
So it's 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
4. Pheasantipity plus... Ooh, now we've got a game. So, if David gets to 6 and gets the knockout on John here, we've got a problem. Because now John needs both attaches, so he needs a Crispin, and he needs Dragapult EX. That's going to be a tall order. It just depends on what David can actually get through, because he can Nest Ball for Fez and Nest Ball for another attacker.
So it is possible for David to go, because he hasn't manually attached yet. So if David finds his other grass energies, it is possible for him to knock out this Dragapult this turn. So we'll have
We're
to
at
see.
4, so
yeah,
attach is
2
5.
more.
So we're going to have to see what he gets.
So it has to be attached, Teal Dance.
Stretcher for the 1.
Okay. So that's 5. David really feeling the loss of Lost Vacuum. Otherwise, Lost Vacuum would have been able to take it up. Oh, David could hit Jamming Tower.
He could, if he has it. But even then, I think 6. Like he's at 5. If he has Jamming Tower, this is enough.
Yeah. So let's
But
see.
if he gets the other energy to swing, he can swing. It just depends on what exactly he can actually get to.
Yeah. So we're at 35. He needs 10 damage.
Can he get there? He put down 2 more Teal Mask Ogrepons. Maybe there was a world where you could have put down the Fez there. Not sure what else he has in his hand. Kind of waiting and seeing what exactly is going on. Second Nest Ball. He needs to grab. Honestly, I would like to see a Pheasantipity here. I would like to see maybe if he does get that energy card. This is the big swing turn. This is what David has to provide. David has to provide a response here. If David can't, then we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, because if David can't knock out that Dragapult, that would be a problem. Now, interesting little interaction here. If John takes a knockout, if David can't knock out this Dragapult and John then takes a knockout, Defiance Vest would no longer be in effect, correct?
Yes.
Or is it, wait, is it this Pokemon has more HP, or this Pokemon
takes 40? It's HP is plus 40, I believe. Or it's either HP is plus 40 or it takes 40 less damage.
Because if it's 40 less damage, if its HP is less than 40, if its HP goes up by 40, that is a big deal, because if that card, if it increases Dragapult's health total, that means that it's 40
less damage from
so
attack. So effective damage total. Okay, cool.
Okay, so that's fine then.
So so David, I think, just needs to Fez and hope that he has an out to a Grass energy. That's the goal. If he can get the out, oh no, he's just attacking with 5. That's 350. That's not enough, because it's 336. It's 350 minus 40, which is 310.
310.
Okay, so he basically is taking 3, and it's 210 minus 4, which is 170. So that means that, or actually no, it's did he remove 3 or 4 there? I think he just removed 3, so it'd be 210 minus 40 is
210
is 170. So I think
that's 6, 12, 18,
does
21.
John have too much damage on there right now? Do we know if he
Yeah.
removed 3 or 4? So it's actually it should be 170 instead of 2. Yeah, it would be 170 instead of 180. Okay, cool.
Good.
Yay!
Look at us. We
did
caught
math.
something. Yeah.
We did math. All right. So now here's how this is going to work. John can attack again. He needs to get an energy attached so that he can set up another attacker. However, counter catcher.
Remember, this is that play we were talking about before.
Counter catcher. You could counter catcher swing into Fez here and not take any prizes.
Yeah.
Set up the EXP share so that the attack goes to the next turn. This is big because now John can potentially, if he swings into the Fez, set up a 6 prize turn the following turn. And David can only realistically take 2. He takes 2, then John responds by taking 6 easy.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be one of those situations where David is definitely feeling very threatened right now. We'll have to see how John tackles this.
I don't think John takes prize cards here. I think he should keep the counter catcher online. It is unlikely that David plays that card. He has the EXP share down. I think he counter catchers the Fez. I think that's his best out right now. Either counter catcher the Fez. There you go. Okay, cool. So he sees it. What's going to happen here is that he wants to put enough damage on the board now where he can swing. So he probably goes. I think he sets them all to 10.
Yes,
so,
10 damage. Yep.
Well, yes. So what you're going to do is you're going to set.
It's
you
200
swing into the Fez. You
then,
swing into the Fez for 200. It sets its health to 10.
Yep.
You swing 3 damage counters onto the Raging Bolt to set it to 10, and then you deal 1/1. 1/1/1.
Yep, that's exactly what he's doing here.
So it sets the Raging Bolt to 70 so that you can swing at it for 60 and knock it out. And then it sets the only thing that John needs next turn is another Dragapult, an energy attached for turn, and a counter and a gust. If he has those 3 things, it is a 6 prize turn 2. Or 6 prize turn 3 or 4, excuse me, but That's what we want to
So
see.
he opted to go for that 40 damage on the Koraidon.
Because now at this point, okay, so opting to go for a little bit bigger on the Koraidon. I mean, he does have enough damage to take that there.
Oh, 30-30. No, he's got it. 30-30. So
no,
he can go
still
that's still five
but
prize
it's not
cards.
6. It's not 6.
Right.
Right, because, well, I mean, what does happen here is that it is enough anyway that if he does swing and KO into the Ogerpon, so the same thing applies, that all he needs is another Gust, and that's it.
Yeah, definitely a tough situation for David to be in here because he has to give up an energy in order to retreat first, and then Sada, and then continue on with the rest of the game. So to go from this position is going to be very tough.
Yes,
obviously
this is not a bad position for John to be in.
Yeah.
It does seem a little bit scary. The worst thing that can happen right now is that if David attacks with a Koraidon and then puts down a Jamming Tower, if he does that, then EXP share does not activate. John has to provide Countercatcher, Crispin, and a Dragapult DX off of 3 or 4 cards in hand. That's not them ain't good odds. I tell you what. Oh, surprise cameo appearance by David's son Jaden.
Yeah.
Surprise cameo.
Let's go,
appearance.
Jaden.
Let's go, Jaden.
Let's go.
I love Jaden. He's a cool kid.
For those
I like
watching
Jaden.
at home, we're a big fan of Jaden and his dad here. They're good guys. So.
They're local guys. We know them
Yeah.
pretty well. Jaden's
so.
Jaden's a cool kid. We like him.
Yeah. Actually, funny little tidbit about Jaden. He is actually ranked in the top 200 points in the world
For juniors?
for juniors.
Wow.
Yeah, so because he goes to all of these events
Bro
with his dad.
Bro plays more than me. I want points. I want. You know. Also, this is your reminder as David is processing his turn. He's trying to think about what he wants to do.
Hydrate.
Please hydrate. Hydrate. Say hi to your loved ones. Okay, Sada. 3 attach. That is a stadium. I do not see if it is the Jamming Tower or not. That is important.
Oh, wait. Nicholas. Boss's orders his game. 230-30.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay,
now
okay,
we see.
okay.
See, our young Dragapult player's learning. He's learning. Yes, so the problem is just that if David does get the knockout, we have to see what John can do in response. He has to get there.
I don't think he can.
Oh,
shaking
he's
his
shaking his head.
head.
He does not like it. All right.
Ooh, we'll have to see what he does here.
Let's see.
I believe that was also David's wife there, also hanging out with
Cameo
us
appearance,
today.
Headland family gathering.
We like it.
Oh.
All
right.
It's all right, David. Let's see what we got going on here, my friend. Yeah, 'cause
So
in this
I'm
position,
hoping if we want to get a confirmation in terms of tournament bracket, as David is processing his final set of turns here, we'll have to see what exactly. Oh, actually, nope. Have some actions going on. He's deck searching. I will say that I just want to get a little bit of a check on what the current standings are. I don't know if what I think Ben Nace, his record is, because I know he did win in the first round. David is 1-1. If Ben is currently 3-0, then if John does win this round, then that will be the top 2, and that will be our immediate finals after this pairing. So we will have to see how exactly that goes. Oh, did David just draw cards from Pheasantipity, or is he trying to?
No, David.
Because he did not take a knockout the previous turn.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, David did not take a knockout last turn, so that those 3 cards that he just drew are actually, he was not able to draw those cards.
Okay, so we're going to have to see what happens with the setup here. I don't know if he actually drew those cards. Oh, no, it didn't look like he did.
Okay, so it's just, so John stopped him from committing to that action.
Scared me for a second.
Yeah.
Scared me.
So David trying to figure out what he wants to do from this position. It's definitely rough. I mean,
I think what has to happen here is I think David definitely, I think it's just attach, retreat into the Koraidon, and then you just swing for the knockout. Oh, into the Raging Bolt. Is he just hoping that John doesn't have it?
Yeah, it sucks because it's pretty likely that John has his boss's orders here. So David's kind of gambling here.
Yeah, you've got to take a knockout, David.
Oh, see, so he's trying to decide what he wants to retreat into here.
He's got to take a knockout. That is for sure, because he has to put it on John to have more pieces than less. He has to have the evolve into Dragapult, the attach, and the gust to swing. Otherwise, hoping it's 1 piece versus 4 pieces.
David decided to go for that. Okay.
Okay.
So the boss's orders.
He probably just passes
here.
Did he attack with an ancient Pokemon? Well, it would be enough. Oh no, it wouldn't
He
be
didn't.
because Defiance Vest would negate the damage.
That's correct.
Ah, wow, dang, that stinks.
So John playing a really, really, really defensive game right now, and genuinely,
I think they're discussing the board state here
Yeah.
because he did attack with the Raging Bolt the previous turn. So because he attacked with the Raging Bolt the previous turn, even if he whiffs, he can attack with the Koraidon for enough.
Yeah.
So let's see if there's a little friendly discussion here to see if David can, maybe he may want to
Either
take
way.
that play back. Oh, nope.
Oh,
Maybe he just passes here.
yeah, he's trying to decide. He could manually attach for or a Sada's into a Burst Roar here.
No,
to try and
because he
draw
did already
cards.
Sada's earlier in the turn, I think.
Oh, he did.
Nope,
oh,
he just
yeah,
passes.
so
All right,
he
it is
passes.
up to John to
All
have
right,
it.
so let's see what John finds that boss's orders.
Serendipity, Badoo.
Badoo.
That does not do much here.
So we have to
So,
see what John can do.
We've got a
The
Jacques. So I think
So he doesn't have the boss's orders.
yes, but he can draw into second Dragapult and Dracloak. There is a chance that he draws into raw second Countercatcher. If he does that, it is a 6-prize turn, game over.
Ah, yes. Does he have a second counter catcher in there?
Most lists do play 2.
Okay.
If he does have second Countercatcher, then that is game right there. We'll have to see.
Okay, let's see what he does. So definitely going through that shuffle.
Low chance.
Yeah,
Low
I did see it.
chance.
I saw it. I saw it in his hands there. So we're gonna see what he comes up
low,
with.
low chance. So what he probably does is he evolves into the Dragapult, the second Dragapult, so he guarantees that as an attach is all he needs to win there. Because I think there's a world where I don't think John takes any prize cards here. I don't think he wants to take a knockout because if he does,
Okay, here
oh,
we go.
let's see it.
Klefki.
I don't know. Okay, so he doesn't have the KO this turn, and I don't think he takes KOs anyway, regardless. Now,
Yeah, I think he just goes 100 and then.
or he'll swing for the
or he'll swing
200,
for the 200,
and I
then-
think he sets the. I think
Oh, okay. So
Oh.
he's taking prize cards.
he's going to take it.
He's taking the 30-30 here. So, yeah, and he put he make
You know, taking 4 here is definitely correct. I mean, like, there's definitely routes that you can take for both. I
guess that's just because he
removing
established.
removing David's Pheasantipity, because you don't want to get David access to cards to draw.
Well, the only problem is that Raging Ball runs 3 copies of
2 or 3 copies
Night.
of Night Stretcher.
Yeah, so that like it could come
So, like,
down.
It could.
Okay, Crispin.
So he is just attacking. Okay. So at this point, I think that does technically lock up the game for John, unless David then does the double attach with the Crispin, retreat, but the problem is that Raging Bolt's retreat cost is 3.
Yeah,
So I think that this pretty much locks up the game in John Connity's favor, unless David plays Jamming Tower. If he has Jamming Tower, he should play that down.
So 7-14. So he has enough. It's just
And if he does, yeah, Jamming Tower has to activate here. I think I can't tell if that's, I don't know if he sees it, but I can't tell if that is actually a Jamming Tower. It seems like it might be an Area
Okay.
0. If it is, then, okay, there's the Fez, back on the board here.
Yep.
I mean, at this
So,
point,
draw 3.
John only needs an energy attached to win the game here, unfortunately,
Yeah.
at any position. So it does look pretty grim unless David does get a Bravery Charm attached to the Roaring Moon. I mean, Raging Bolt, excuse me.
Roaring Moon
Getting my
would be an
ancient,
interesting
I'm
deck.
getting my ancient Pokemon mixed up
Yeah,
here. I
Roaring Moon would
apologize.
be a crazy deck to see here today. Another one of those rogue decks that we see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he's got 1 on the
so-
attach.
So I think David is conversing with John, talking about what the next set of moves are going to be.
And there's the knockout.
Yeah, so there's the knockout.
And he does that. He knows what's going on. He attaches the Psychic, and that is that.
Yeah.
John Connity with a dominant 2-0 performance.
Yeah, now we've got a
against
3-0
David
John
Hedlund.
Connity here, so very good game there. So very, very good game by John. Probably the only 3-0 here today.
Potentially Ben. Also, I did see that he was still playing and in the tournament. So
Oh, okay,
if
so
him and John are the
potentially-
only 3-0s, then they will play a final for all de Marbelles at the end of this.
Yeah,
so we will have to see. John wants to come on for an interview. We'll find out in a second. But pure Dragapult
Yeah.
No,
so
no bull, no line, no additional lines. Just a decent amount of tech cards for the format, and you swing, swing, and swing again.
Yeah, absolutely. So
The
and
Dragapult
really
Council. The
interesting
Dragapult
play.
Council is about to convene.
Yeah, and a really interesting play there, not choosing not to take any prize cards. So like there's no Pheasantipity, there's no counter catcher, there's no interaction with the board.
Yeah.
And David, obviously playing a turbo list, has to interact with that board state, forcing John to be able to use Unfair
Yeah.
Stamp. So very, very good plays there by John.
Very well played.
But we're actually going to have him step on here.
The Dragapult Council is about to convene.
All right, you guys are about to get a good lesson here.
Just to give you a heads up, top 4 is Pure Pult. I think there's 3 Pure Pults in top 8 right now. The top 8 was a mirror, and Lashmet lost, but now it is Pure Pult. It's Pure Pult versus Henry playing Guardy, and it's 1-1.
Wow.
Sounds like a pretty good set. But
Pretty.
let's talk about you instead of players that are at Atlanta. Pure Pult.
Yeah, Pure Pult.
What
Good
are
day, good
what
day
are our
for Pure
thoughts?
Pult here and in Atlanta. I think my favorite part of that set was the Game 1 Klefki. I fought tooth and nail against Klefki in this deck because you don't want to go first,
Yeah.
but I knew it was Raging Bolt, and I luckily got into it. So
Yeah, looking pretty good. Pretty dominant position there. I mean, David really
Yeah.
didn't have much to respond to that, so he didn't really do anything after that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
That game, too. Very interested in the play where you took the 4. Was there my thought process? What's the thought process behind that play versus maybe potentially not knocking out those 2 cards so that he doesn't have access to any other additional draw?
I figured at that point that puts me far enough ahead. I'm going to have the Dragapult set up next turn with the EXP share.
True.
And I know there's nowhere he can hide that other Raging Bolt that I just swung into. So no matter where he puts it, I'm taking that out on the bench.
Okay. Yeah, because at the point that you swung at it, it had just 200, right?
Yes.
So, okay, yeah, no, definitely seems good. I mean, the only thought that I would have there then at that point is then maybe if he does play Bravery Charm, and if he Bravery Charms the Raging Bolt, you can't immediately take that prize.
That's
unless
true.
you gust. So
I had just pulled balls with the prizes.
you did?
Luckily,
Okay.
so.
Hey, worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe there's a thought process on there, and maybe I wanted to see a 6 prize turn.
I wanted to see a 6 prize turn too, but
Maybe. I don't know. Okay. But, I mean, the Klefki is definitely an inclusion for the deck that's on-off.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of different play testing groups play it, a lot of different play testing groups not. We're about to see a bunch of lists from, top 16, top 32, and top 8 now with Lashmet getting that finish. What are your thoughts on it so far? Any other tech inclusions that are a little bit different from the norm that you've been playing in your list?
yeah, the Klefki definitely feels good. It feels good early game, feels good mid game for certain matchups. Anything with Latias, it's nice to trap that.
Okay.
Because a lot of decks with Latias don't really care about a mid game, but do. I know a lot of Pure Pult lists are on 2 Crispin. I went 1 Crispin and then the EXP share.
Which definitely won you the game in that regard.
Yeah. Just because I didn't like locking myself in a Crispin too often if I lost my first attachment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much a standard list. Other than that, 3-3-1 on the energy with the 1 dark for the Monkey Dory.
Okay. Yeah, simple and straightforward.
stuff.
That works out. I mean, we're about to see it one more time. You're going to be playing Terapagos, which seems to be a fairly intricate matchup. So
Yes.
hopefully we'll see you take it home for the Dragapult cult. Shout out to Liz. So we'll send you back over there.
All right.
Good luck. We
Thank
will
you.
be right back. Don't go anywhere. Oh, still on camera. Are we going straight in, or are we taking a little break first? Yeah, we could probably take like a minute break or so. I'm still on camera right now. We're still hanging out.
Yeah, I'll cut to it. Sorry, I didn't have my headphones.
All good. Now, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.